Welcome to Comfort Havoc number 2. This is part 3 of transgender females fighting regular females in sporting events and why I'm more against it than for it. If you watched the last video, I got into some shit, and at the end of the video, I got way off track. So let's bring it on back around to why I think that it's very important that you definitely give transgender women a chance, but you give it to them in a league of their own. You would not put them in the same fighting arena as regular women. You would have it as maybe an off-brand with just transgender women for transgender women. And I'm saying that for all fairness, so that transgender women can still prove themselves, but they shouldn't go against regular women due to the fact that their bodies still contain manly strength and manly toughness, because supposedly men are tougher than women. I don't believe that for New York Minute. I think that toughness is gender equal. Alright? After all, women do push another human being completely out of their body. So, kudos to women there. They have to be a little bit more tougher than us to an extent to deal with that. Not only that, they carry another human body in their body. So they have to be tougher than that. But that's a different kind of toughness versus taking one to the fucking face. Alright? I'm sorry for cussing, but it's the truth. My big sister used to whoop my ass till I was 16 years old. And all the kung fu in the world, I ain't got shit on the windmill. Alright? But as I got older and stronger and realized that she couldn't hurt me anymore, which was that day when she broke that brush on my face, I learned two things. One, how strong I really am here and here translates very well. Two, the only way I would ever really hurt a woman is if they had something in their hand that can hurt me. And if I was stupid enough to allow them to use it, then I deserve to get hurt. Now, for all video purposes and to carry on with this, I honestly think that if you're transgender, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. But you as a transgender person should be pushing for a league of your own versus getting in and mopping the floor with young women who are actually born and bred women versus you who were not born and bred a woman but genetically got transferred over, or you had some surgery, whatever the hell that is that makes that work out. And the reason I say that is because there's nothing wrong with a good, fair competition. No, nothing wrong with that. But it's kind of not fair when you're grown, you've been a man for most of your life, and decide, oh, I think I'm just going to go and become a girl. I'm just going to snap everything together. I'm going to get some testosterone boobies, and I'm going to get rid of that thing down there, and I'm going to go into the UFC and dominate bitches. No offense to everyone I just offended with that little skit that I just did there. The problem with that is really simple. This right there, this little chicken wing, there's a lot more strength behind this chicken wing than you think. And in all fairness, for a man to hit a woman, even if he's transitioning over, especially if he's been in more fights as a man than a woman, he's got tactical advantage. He's got strength advantage. He's got first-hand knowledge on hitting people and receiving hits. And then there's the fact that he may be a lot tougher than her on the physical. That when she's like hitting him with everything she's got and is not phasing the transgender woman, there's like a fucking Rocky moment where in Rocky 4 where they kept doping up Dolph Lundgren and Rocky's just like boom, boom, come on, boom, boom, come on, boom. And they just kept going and going. And Rocky eventually outlasted the drug. So when you think about it like that, it's kind of like that. But most women that are going to get hit by men, they may take a good 3 or 4 hits. They may, like to the face. Maybe even to the body. But when they start getting into the points where you hit them like you're hitting a grown-ass man. You're hitting them like you're swinging for the fences, and they're fighting you as best they can, and they're hitting you the same way. The difference is that power gauge, like the Street Fighter line, and when your power hits them and it goes, and theirs hits you and it goes, it's bullshit. It's straight bullshit. And I'm thinking, no, you were once a man, and just because you were losing as a man does not give you the right to take a little snip and some testosterone pills, become a woman, and decided to just go in and start dominating shit. And now this also goes on to other sports, as the young wrestler lady said. There's a big 6 foot something whose name I can't remember was lifting power weights and volleyballing and all. I'm like, okay, and they wouldn't let her compete because she was like 6'7" or some shit, and she was transgendering over. Now, granted, there are women, naturally born tall ass women, because I'm sure you've seen the shows on TLC called My Giant Life, and if you haven't, go Google it. Yeah, I had to check time. Shows like that. So there are women who really are Amazonian in height. They're like mega tall and stuff like that. I once worked with an Amazon woman who I cussed out intentionally because I went on the warpath. I'm sorry, that was a flashback. I wish I could have showed y'all that in my head. But anyway, her name was Gail. And don't think that I didn't want to jump up to the 6 foot tall woman and chin check the shit out of her ass. Except for it's against my beliefs that a man should hit a woman unless she has something in her hand. But this young woman was pushing it. And she also caused me to get fired on my day off. But anyway, okay, some of that was my fault. Because I went on the warpath. Anyway, so, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, what can we do to solve this problem outside of giving transgender females their own league? And transgender athletes in general should have their own league. I mean, we went from NBA to WNBA. We went from PGA to LPGA. So why can't we have the transgenders have the same equal opportunities with their own league? I mean, I know it sounds kind of fracked up coming from me because, look, I love ladies golf. I watched ladies golf today. I can't remember who won because I deleted it. But she was from Korea, I think. But every time the ladies play, I watch. If Tiger's not playing when the dudes play, I don't watch. I'm sorry. That's just the way I much rather watch ladies play golf than dudes. I have no interest in dudes playing golf outside of Tiger Woods playing. If Tiger's not playing, I don't watch that shit. UFC, when I see the ring girls on, good to go. WWE, when I see the ladies wrestling, my TV stops. When I see the dudes wrestling, I watch that shit mostly for story, or if it's one of my favorite male wrestlers. But outside of that, I keep going. But the second that a hot chick's on TV, eyes are open. Yeah, well, I'm right there. But, that's just me. But when it comes to this transgender issue, I don't understand. I don't think that it would hurt for them to open up a transgender league. You can have transgender golf, you have transgender baseball, you have transgender football, you have transgender every fucking thing under the sun, including a transgender ultimate fighting thing. That way, it's fair. And the rules will be simple. You're not transgender, you can't compete. That way the transgender females can fight transgender females. And then they can just have at it. Transgender on the golf course, transgender on the basketball field, all that. Because transgender female, they could probably have the transgender NBA, and they can allow the females to dunk. Not that Lisa Leslie can't dunk. Okay? So, you have to contribute and play to your strengths. So, you're going to have transgender leagues. If you have transgender leagues, there's the solution right there. Every league that has a league can have a transgender league. Every sport. Transgender hockey, transgender golf, transgender baseball, transgender football, transgender basketball, transgender boxing, transgender kickboxing, transgender UFC, transgender pride, transgender rec. Transgender, every sporting event can have a transgender league. I almost guarantee you will not be disappointed, and you will have a conglomerate of people who are transgender, who are athletes, who can get in that sumbitch and be just as good as all of the athletes in the NBA, the WNBA, the UFC, the fucking name a sport, and if transgender people can participate in it, they'll be there, and it would be fair because then all the transgender communities would have a sports hero that they could admire instead of someone who's was once a man and just dominating women in the women's league, which I also find disgusting. Not because he's transgender, not because she's transgender, but the fact that there was no honor in that. There's no honor in going in and knowing that you were once a man and just beating the shit out of people because you're stronger. And, I don't want to have a fucking internet war about that shit. But if necessary, yeah, you went in knowing that you was once a man. I'm 46. I would look like a horrible, ugly ass woman. So there's no way in hell I'm gonna transcend and then go in and just start dominating all these women. Not that it can't be done, because I'm fairly healthy, but it still would not be right. Plus, I like being a man, so that's just not a fucking option. But at the same time, you have to think, this person went in there under false pretenses. And I don't think that that's right. I'm not going to slander the person. I just don't think that it's morally right. It might be morally right for them, but it wasn't morally right in the way I see it. That you could possibly think that somewhere in your twisted mind that this shit was okay. I don't think it was okay turning from the Oscars. But you have to think about the fairness athletically. Okay, so with the WWE, they had the team up, the female versus male. But in the team up, and I respect WWE madly for this, because males fought males, females fought females. Males never put their hands on the females, and I totally respect that shit. Now, if you watch independent wrestling, which I totally respect, the women get down with the men. They really do. And you can follow them, and you can see these women, they get down. They're just as tough as these men, and they go hand to hand, and men be hitting the women. And I know that in wrestling, most of your punches are pulled anyway. But at the same time, these goddamn bumps they be taking, these suplexes and shit, no, the old shits are not pulled. You can't fall really slow once you're in motion. Your ass is in motion. Making, Newton the most deadliest son of a bitch in the ring. Objects in motion stay in motion unless they hit in a target or whatever. But the thing with that is, if it's transgender versus transgender, it makes it fair. If it's transgender versus biological female, that does not make it fair. And that's basically what the young wrestler lady was getting at, and I couldn't agree more. I'm only on the fence if the fact of the matter is that they were not informed that the transgender female went into that ring with all these females and banged it out. Now, before I go, let's talk about body mechanics really, really quickly. All right? When it comes down to body mechanics, and I touched on this in the other video, so I want to close out on this in this video. If you are a smoker or a drinker, the fats in drinking add more muscle mass or fatty stuff to you, which is why I say most women in athletic positions try to eat more healthy. They try to eat more lean. Every now and again, they may indulge, which means they're going to hit the fucking gym twice as hard as a man. And a man, we try to bulk up. Women try to slim down. Very few women bulk up in their athletic career. Most of them try to slim down. Some of them bulk up because they might need to bulk up, but most of them try to maintain a good fluent weight, where the other women kind of try to. It really depends on the woman, and also the genetic makeup of that woman. If she comes from husky people, she's going to be a little bit husky. And in comparison, so that you guys will understand what I mean by that, I'm not trying to be nasty or evil towards women, but what I'm basically saying is, alright, you guys all know Tamina and Lady Tapa, they're Samoans, and you also know Nia Jax, she's also Samoan. So when you see their bodies, they're a little bit different than when you take a Sasha Banks, Io Shirai, or Rhea Ripley, or Bayley, or Liv Morgan. So, by all accounts, their locations of where their genetics come from also have an effect on that. Most Asian women are pretty thin periodically because most of their culture are they're going to either eat fish or chicken. Very few of them are eating pork or steak. Just it really depends on where they are. Like American girls, it's a whole different ball game. All American girls, no matter what their ethnicity is, they get more cultural diverse food. So they have to evaluate what they eat more, and they also get more body shaming and shit. So they have to evaluate everything they do, and this is what probably led to anorexia and shit in a bunch of people. But when you look at certain ethnicities, genetic makeup, body mechanics of certain women and certain locations, Lady Tapa's like almost 6 feet. She might be 6 feet, but she's a huge woman, and I don't mean that in a nasty way. Sorry, Lady Tapa, but she's a big girl. Same thing with Awesome Kong. She's a big girl. And then you look at Havoc. I can't remember her first name. And then you take a look at Tessa Blanchard, you take a look at Madison Rain, and you take a look at God damn it, what the hell were their names? I forgot their names, but one was from Manhattan, one was from Canada. And then you take a look at like WWE females, like Io Shirai, she's really tiny. You look at Rhea Ripley, she's tall, but she's cut. You look at the chick that she took the belt from, and they're small, but they're cut. And then you look at Ruby Riott, and they're right size and shaped up, but they're like thin. They're not like overweight. They're not like bulky. Not saying that Awesome Kong and them are overweight, but genetically speaking, they're bigger than the other women, but they're still natural women. Their height, I think Nia Jax maybe 5'8", maybe. I know Sasha Banks is like 5'5", and I think the smallest female wrestler is probably Twisted Bliss. I think she's like 5'2", maybe 5'1", but everyone else is between 5'3" and 5'7". So but when you look at their body shapes, they're all fairly cut and in shape. Little in the middle, if at all. But they're always working out. Always. They're working out like 2 or 3 times a day. And when you have a job like that and your job is to be in shape, that is what they do. And this is why it is not fair for a transgender person to compete in a woman's event when they were not born a natural born woman, because they have the extra muscle mass, they have the extra dexterity, they have the supposed durability. Because for the one thing that I'm going to stay on the fence on, no matter what your fucking gender is, durability does not count. Alright? Durability does not count, because there are women who are just as tough and as durable as a man in this world, and just because they don't know it yet, you don't know how strong or durable you are until you reach your physical limits. Some people never reach their physical limits until the day before they die. So durability, I'm on the fence on. But as far as transgender women competing in female sports and stuff, knock it off. That shit should not exist, and they should have a league of their own. Thanks for watching this Comfort Habit number 2. This is 18 minutes of your life that you can't get back. Be seeing you. Okay, 1720.